and thank you for joining us on the Veteran-Owned Business. This is Paul Cummings, CEO with Whole Cyber Human Initiative Incorporated. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. First, I have to say that I absolutely love what you do. So at these various V2I events and across LinkedIn, I hear about so many people wanting to break into IT and cyber. But I think a lot of them aren't really sure where to start, right? So can you tell me a little bit more about Whole Cyber Human Initiative and what you offer and how it came about?
So what we offer is really a workforce development pipeline. It's kind of twofold, right? So we have a candidate pipeline. It's like you said, a lot of people don't understand what they want to do. They hear cybersecurity. I know the amount of leaders out there with mentees probably cringe just as I do when they hear, "Oh, I want to get into cyber." It's like, okay, well, what do you want to do in cyber? I want to do cybersecurity. It's like, okay, well, I want to go to space. So let me tell you how I'm going to get to space. I'm going to go to space camp. I'm going to do X, Y, Z. So our biggest thing that we do is soul searching. We illuminate with the System NICE framework, which is a freely available resource that's out there that really goes over to 52 roles and the 33 subspecialties that are available within IT and cyber.
Wow.
And what we do is we have each person research this website, get very intimate with it and understand the knowledge, the skills, the tasks that are incorporated with each role. And then ultimately find, 3 to 5 that really resonate with them as a person. We have too many people out there that are chasing the dollar, and when they get the job, they're super miserable. So we're trying to alleviate that, right? The golden term is, if you do a job that you like, you could care less about the pay, or you forget about the pay. And that's kind of the approach that we're going with. We don't just target veterans. I am a veteran myself, and it's really a lot of what started Whole Cyber. I started my own little Veterans Breaking in IT Cybersecurity mentorship event last year, where I was bringing in industry professionals to talk to these veterans that are looking at getting into IT and cyber. And then it branched into, talking to a lot of civilians that are career pivoters that are having the same issue, whether it's the term gatekeeper that's passed around a lot, and being told they have to go entry level when they've got copious amounts of, hard and soft skills already embedded in them that you just can't teach somebody to entry level. So really how it came about was, I was looking at just starting an initiative focused on mentoring, holding like networking events and stuff like that outside of this industry. But obviously V2I, being targeted for the veteran community and military spouse community, I had to think how I could do it at the level to really help everybody out. This is a global pandemic. It's not just a veteran specific. When we talk about, the 600,000 to 1.8 million unfilled roles worldwide, it's really something that's been growing out of control. A lot of it is with the companies not knowing exactly what they want to hire, or this or that academy, boot camp, or school popping up left and right that all seem to have this golden ticket. And then you talk to the people that are going to these courses and find out that they are still jobless for a year after I got this assurance saying that I will get a job if I do your course. So it was kind of start off as I got together with originally it was 20 leaders in the industry, several who are veterans themselves, but piecing together, as leaders in the community, what can we see as what's broken? And then finally, it was after I heard somebody got rejected again. This person was a 14-year law enforcement agent at the time, got rejected for an incident response role, and was told, hey, come back when you have experience. So that's when I kind of launched, full gambit, the website, and really started filing the paperwork. And that led to what we've done. So for the candidates, 100% free. That's 100 hours of immersive training that has a lot of hands-on labs. That way it's actual training that you can bring into an industry, right? So when you talk about cyber, a lot of companies are trying to hire somebody that can hit the ground running.
Right.
Well, when they riddle a job description with XYZ certification or college degree, are they really getting that hands-on experience when they do these certifications or these college degrees? More often than none, the answer is no. It really depends on the boot camp. It really depends on the college. And through the program, we're touching, the cybersecurity has a color wheel that we like to use. The red team, the blue team, the orange team, the green team, the yellow team, the white team, the purple team. And that's kind of how we've done it. We orchestrated it to around teaching holistic cyber, not just one single role. We've had candidates that have studied for a year straight just to be a security, SOC analyst, only to get a job and realize they didn't like it, and then they quit, and now they have no more marketable skills because that was the role that they studied for a year.
Right.
So taking the holistic approach, we're arming a candidate from either an entry level all the way to a senior level. A lot of recruiters have said that, oh, it looks like you're doing entry level, but it's not. We're giving the full value of it. So at the entry level, we are grabbing that foundational, fundamental knowledge that's required on a lot of job descriptions. They're getting the hands-on experience with the different tools and technologies that are used. Again, not just one flavor. Having that person that is fluent in all the realms of cyber arms them to when they get to that company. Let's say they do SOC analyst. 5 months later, they may get burnt out, and maybe it's not the role they thought it was going to be. Having the holistic approach gives this candidate or the applicant the ability to say, hey, hiring manager, or hey, director, I'm getting burnt out on this. Rather me quitting, I've looked at our company page, and there's several job openings, and I have general knowledge in that area to do a job rotation. This in turn gives the company the ability to save $25,000, $30,000 for recruiting fees and whatever, because now they're able to hire internally.
Right.
Because now you have somebody that's been doing, again, SOC analyst for 5 months. They now know the company's mission, and their client's needs. So if I was to jump into another role, I could fill that role better because you don't have to train me to what your company and clients need.
That's great.
And then when we talk about the career shifter or the veteran, the mid to senior level roles are often not super technical. Having hands-on experience obviously does help, but when you talk about the leadership skills, the management skills, the project management skills, that a lot of career shifters or veterans bring to the table, military spouses or homemakers, it's a very marketable skill. And having that ability to say, okay, you just can't teach somebody that at entry level. It's something they're going to have to grow into, especially if you're talking about someone straight out of school.
Right.
So giving that power to them. And on the back end, one of the things that we're starting to do is we're looking for companies that want to help or want us to help create a direct to hire pipeline for them. So with our program, candidate completes all the training. Now it's, helping them brand themselves to find a job. But if we can find companies that like our approach and see value in our approach, maybe they have, their entire year's budget already aligned to how many people they want to hire throughout the year. We can save a few bucks that, instead of them advertising and paying that money for advertising those roles, we can do a flat rate and say, okay, at this rate, we can guarantee you, X amount of people. Or even some, when you start talking about some of the different, software tools out there that a lot of companies are requiring people to have exponential amount of experience in. It's not, these aren't tools that, an average person is going to go out and pay money for, because it costs upwards to $1,000 and more for a license fee. Why would they go out and do that if they're not going to be guaranteed a job?
Exactly.
So maybe the company wants to sponsor a few licenses for the tools their company uses, and we can really arm them with that knowledge coming in starting day one to really start, breaking the walls down.
That sounds like that's a great plan. And it I don't want to say win-win because I really hate that term, but it does sound like a win-win situation. And so like 100 hours, right? Is there like a set time frame that they need to complete those hours?
No set time frame. It's all at your own pace. I mean, if you really have somebody that is single, working, a 9-to-5 job, and they could dedicate 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, you can get it done in 2.5 months.
Wow.
It really depends on the candidate and what the candidate's life stressors are going on. When we talk about a lot of these academies and colleges and courses that are really demanding time, you get a lot of failure rate.
Right.
And we want to bring human back to cyber, which is another reason we want to do whole cyber human. Bringing that face-to-face back to what it really is.
I love that. That's great, because a lot of people talk about, I don't know, computers just in general, and how there's no interaction, there's no it's just so automated, and I like that.
Well, the job is going to be that way, but
right.
When you consider, like, think of the person, we'll use veteran. Think of that veteran that took the initiative and started a year ahead and started networking. They've got so many more valuable connections before their transition mark than somebody who waits till they're 2 months away and they start, well, I got a wife and a kid I have to pay for. I need a job now.
Right.
It's like, well, sucks that you took this long, but it doesn't work like that, especially in the tech field, when you consider some of the job interviews can last upwards to 2 months. So that's another thing that we're trying to do, is we're trying to help alleviate a lot of that. Again, humanizing cyber and the process, making that networking connection. The ATS was originally there to help with a lot of the overhead that was coming in, but we become too reliant on it. There was a study that was released. I can't remember the exact company that did it, but there was over 1 million applicants that were dropped just because they didn't know how to write a job description or write to a job description.
Oh, goodness.
You still have too many people out there that are writing their resumes as a master resume, thinking that's the one ring to rule them all. And they may, have talked to somebody at that company and they were 100% fit, But when that resume gets submitted, it doesn't meet what the job description is looking for.
Right.
And then we often see the people that, are the ATS hunters. They get comfortable using stuff like the skill sync, and really tailoring a resume, but then they over tailor it. And they start putting things out there like if a company's looking for foundational knowledge in XYZ, and they say they have advanced knowledge. Well, now you're making yourself sound like you're overqualified for it. And that's what it's going to come back to as a hiring manager. You're overqualified. So it's also taking that piece in and saying, we really tailor your resume. I failed personally at this for my first 3 months of job hunting. And it wasn't until I actually started tailoring for each job that I was applying for, which I had 42 resumes still. But they were all tailored to those roles. And
Right.
I made it all the way through, the chopping block. It was just, hey, out of the top 3 candidates, XYZ person had a little bit more knowledge in XYZ. But again, change that human factor to where we're not relying on an automated system. Like you said, it becomes pretty mundane. I'm still getting notifications from when I applied to jobs in 2020.
Oh boy.
Oh, well, we looked at your, we're moving on with somebody else. That's a better fit. It's like, I don't even remember applying for you.
Why would they even? Oh, that's a very long time. And it's great, like especially with it being self-paced. We're both sailors, right? Former sailors. So being underway when you sometimes don't have the best internet connection, doing workups or whatnot, and you have that break, like you're not starting from square one, or you don't put it off because you're like, I'll start this whenever I get back. And then, life happens. And then before you know it, it's been a year when you could have already at least gotten, 20, 40 hours done ahead of time.
That's actually, that sailor mindset is actually, one of the things why I focused on workforce development. If you look at just the Navy side,
yeah,
once you're an E5, that is what you're doing. You're helping build workforce development. If I go from one ship to another ship, I have to learn how that entire ship runs because it's totally different than the one I just came from.
Exactly.
And a lot of the times, Uncle Sam's not paying for you to go out and get another school. So you have to find creative ways. And I've been frugal my entire career. Never wanted to pay a dime. So with the amount of free resources that I've found just since 2017, it's a no-brainer to share it because there's just so many people out there taking advantage of the veteran community by itself.
Yeah.
With this gimmick or that gimmick and charging somebody 6 to 9 months of their GI bill.
Right.
Saying, oh yeah, you're guaranteed a 6-figure job when, let's be honest, that really doesn't exist unless you really know your stuff.
Yeah. And also, like, even if you have the experience, it doesn't mean that something's available. I tell people this all the time, like, you hear, especially, I don't know about the other branches, but I know in the Navy, even after I was out and I was working, on the civilian side of things, that you hear people say, oh yeah, like, I get job offers every day. I'm like, okay, so how much longer do you have until you're out? Oh, 2 years. I don't need a network. That's great. But whenever it comes, like, I can't even count how many times I've heard that once they're out, all these job offers that they had, oh man, I'd really love to hire you, but we don't have anything right now. And it happens a lot.
Yeah.
So it's just, this is great. And I've seen some of, you've shared with me some of your tools and resources, and I'm like, there's so much that I'm just like, hey, have you met Paul Cummings? So tell me, what do you love most about what you do?
think what I love the most is when I have those, a part of our, so our program is broken into two, right? So we have our part one where the candidate does do soul searching. They build out a profile on a website where they take an aptitude test and stuff like that. But we do an intake with them after part one's complete. And after part one, when we do this Zoom, we talk to the person, we get to know them. We hear some of the horror stories that they've had, where they're, they did a 6 month, we have one candidate that did a course that was 6 months long for $6,500.
Wow.
And it said in the black and white, and I've seen in black and white, that we'll reimburse you if you can't find employment. It's been a year. This dude still hasn't found employment. And still waiting, still getting email redirects of, oh, okay, have you tried this? Have you tried that? It's like, quit, just give me my money.
Yeah.
That $6,500 is something that, I'm unemployed. So that's money that I can use. I could pay probably, 8 months of rent with that right now.
Right.
But getting those, after a candidate starts working on the training, and one of the things that just really perks me up is the same person, right? Was like, how do you articulate it? I wanted to interview him myself to do a commercial on it. But he was saying, with the free resources that we use is far superior than the courses that he's taken that he's paid for.
Oh man.
And part of that is, they're not all, but quite often a lot of boot camps are out there just to teach you how to take a test. Or they teach you how to memorize, a book, and they don't do hands-on. So having him explain how the hands-on training and the immersive training that we're providing with all these free resources that he never knew about is one of the things that, perks me up.
Yeah.
Another thing that I think all of us enjoy, whether it's the board of directors or a board of advisors, is when a candidate reaches out and was like, man, I really didn't know there was so much involved in IT or cyber, more so on the cyber side. Because again, you look on LinkedIn, you look on Indeed, Glassdoor, you look at all these different social networks, and you only see really two things that are sexy: SOC analyst and pen tester, but nothing in between. So we had somebody that was actually studying for a year to be a SOC analyst. And when they found out that, stuff like compliance and auditing was a part of cyber, it blew them away, and it gave them something that, okay, now I have an entry point, because they've been doing it just at a different industry. So now they have to get spun up on this training. And now with their years of actually doing it and leading assessments, they bring a marketable tool to the interview.
Nice.
That's very catching.
Yeah.
And then when we get the young folks, right now we have a 16-year-old candidate. We have no age limit. We're trying to coin the term all-inclusive, right? And we know ideas is the new campaign this year, obviously from last year, but diversity has always been there. It's what's been lacking is the inclusion and equity. So that's kind of what we're trying to coin, is all inclusion. Because the threat actors, the bad guys, the bad gals, they don't care about our age, our gender, our sexual identity, our religion, or whatever. They don't care. So why should we? Why do we still have a biased opinion on someone's age when they apply for a job? Why do we still have a bias for somebody that is of a different ethnicity? You know, we're just not about that. You know, we want to, using someone like Jenny Sterling's term, Jenny Sterling is about K to gray. And that's ideally what we want to focus on. You know, if you're able to log onto a computer and you're interested in cyber, come out and do our program.
That's great.
If you're a hiring manager, or if you're a CISO, or if you're an IT director that still thinks that cyber is a part of IT, I challenge you to come do our program. It's free. Learn how your yesteryear techniques just don't apply today.
Yeah. Things are always changing. So it's great. And oh man, 16 years old. That's
16 years old, already skipped a grade.
Wow.
Uses his own allowance to do these online academies with people like Neil Bridges, with the INE. Has started looking at internships and apprenticeships already for the summer.
Wow.
Cyber. It's like his dad is, has actually stated, hey, if a company would hire him, they would be 100% happy for him to, challenge the GED, because this kid's already got collegiate level classes being dual enrolled.
And he enjoys it, I imagine, right? You don't
does.
get to that point.
He's very curious, and curiosity is a very big piece of cyber. If you're curious, you're going to be more inclined to be a continuous learner.
Right.
And that's another value that we like to present, with the veterans side is veterans, service members that are transitioning, military spouses and military dependents are all have been taught continuous learning that service member's entire career.
Yep.
If you talk about, a spouse, they transfer, they got to learn the new command climate. They got to learn the new base, the new infrastructure that they're at. You talk about a student or, dependent child, they got to learn how this school system might be totally different than what they just left. Are they more advanced? Are they behind? Are there mechanisms where they can challenge themselves to excel higher than what their current classmates are? And that's a value that I don't think, when we talk about a lot of companies, no matter the industry, they don't really take that in consideration with a veteran. They see that stigma that you're a service member, you must be loopy, you must have PTSD. I bring you into my company, or you got to go postal because, somebody said a trigger word or something like that. And it goes back to those biases, right? And I think that's one of the things we have to break.
I agree.
In the cyber community alone, when we talk about something like critical infrastructure, your banks, your small utilities, your water company, your power company, big oil, maritime, solar, nuclear, whatever, those are nations, those are national interests, right? And they're having an issue trying to get people into what they call operational technology cyber, OT cyber, or ICS, which is industrial control systems. Well, that is like the perfect area for a veteran to segue if they're looking for IT or cyber roles, because as a veteran, we look for somewhere where we're making an impact.
Yep.
Something that has a mission that has that value that we've been doing. And what better way from going to protect the United States than joining something where you can protect the nation's interest or nation's critical infrastructure. So if companies out there listening, seek out a veteran. They won't let you down.
Absolutely. So true. So true, because of that purpose and, just where our hearts are. I love that. So you guys are a nonprofit, correct?
Correct.
So do you get funding or donations?
So this goes into, one of the questions that you're going to be asking here soon. Um, with starting my own business. Um, there's a lot of things that I wish I would have known going in. First thing is I wish I would have looked at the IRS website religiously. In 2000 and 2021, there were so many people filing for nonprofit that there's a 6-month wait. So currently I'm a Florida registered nonprofit and I'm still waiting for IRS for tax exemption status to be able to operate, statewide. So I can only do fundraising in Florida currently.
Okay.
So knowing that is something that is big, right? Because if you go to the website right now, it tells you there's a 5 to 6 month wait just to be assigned a specialist to even approach you as a nonprofit.
Wow.
But we can do donations. We have a PayPal that we do donations through. You just can't do it as a nonprofit specifically, because with the Florida, we have to go through Florida Department of Agriculture for our nonprofit status, just for the state. And it states that, online is not considered a state function for fundraising. So if you are donating or you want to donate, please do so. And then when we do get our tax exempt, we can absolutely get you your invoice saying it was a tax exempt donation for your tax filing.
And it's still early enough in the year that you can get that before the end of the calendar year. So that's great.
Yeah, we were told. So I filed in October. So based on 6 months, we're looking at anywhere in April that we can possibly get our letter.
Wow. Yeah, but I mean, that's great that so people can still donate, but only in Florida. Is that correct? Or
no, we can only fundraise in Florida.
Only fundraise in Florida.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one of the things that we've done, I've never been big on marketing, but I do have all these great ideas. And there's a lot of time is I can't put it to paper, right? So one of the things that we've done to help stimulate some funding, the whole Cyber Human Initiative, we started a scholarship that we're going to release later this year. And it's for certification vouchers. So I started a clothing line. So thinking about, a dual market aspect, I thought to myself, yeah, there's all these vendors out here that I can look at and sell some shirts, stuff like that. I reached out to Proper Patriot.
Okay.
You're selling shirts for Vest Industry and a couple other places. How does it work? So when I told them that the idea was all my proceeds from the shirts go directly into a savings account for a scholarship program, it was like synergy right off the bat. So, we started some polos, some hoodies, and a couple of t-shirts. And then recently, I talked to a couple companies. I'm not going to name drop them. We talked to them, way back in, October, November timeframe about coffee.
Oh,
I
like coffee.
A cyber variant of coffee, right? Cyber coffee inspired by cyber professionals. So the first company, we wanted to go with them because they had, maximum caffeination. When you think of cyber, you think of that person that's really tweaked out on caffeine, right?
Yeah.
Or, that person that is working or, doing instant response that needs to stay awake. So we originally wanted to go with this company and they just never went anywhere with it. Then we found another company that we wanted to do, Jackal. They're currently One Team, One Fight. They just got done rebranding. And that's kind of what happened with us not being able to go with them, because as a rebranding would cost a little bit more money. With us being unfunded, we just couldn't have that we couldn't present that money up front to help with the rebranding cost. So finally, Justin over at Proper Patriot said, "Hey, we got coffee. Have you ever thought about, drop shipping?" I was like, "It's funny you mentioned that." And so then we met with him and made some cyber coffee. And again, all the proceeds that we get from that go directly into a savings account for the scholarship fund that we want to start.
That's awesome.
So each of the flavors is inspired by either one is inspired by a 1984 cyber graphic novel called Neuromancer, which oddly is very, very close to The Matrix before The Matrix came out. So yeah, we chose names and put stories behind them of why we chose that name.
Love that. I'm excited. Now I gotta go check that out. I didn't realize that you were doing that. And it's already available for sale, or?
Yep, already available for sale. We actually have some drinkware as well.
Okay.
Like a wine chill tumbler, a coffee tumbler, important. Standard ceramic mug, some sticky notes, mouse pad, water bottle. Just some of the things that you would want to have around with you.
Yeah.
It's just rocking the whole cyber logo and knowing that, hey, I purchased this and I know it's going to something good.
Yeah.
It's kind of why a couple managers I know actually subscribe to the bundle kit for a coffee, just because they know that subscription is going to be feeding talent that could be coming their way soon.
That's a great feeling. I mean, if you're going to be drinking coffee anyway, have the proceeds go to a great cause. So, so the question about the hurdle that you're most proud of overcoming starting this initiative, is that do you have something outside of the?
Yeah, the biggest hurdle that I'm proud of is we were starting to see some companies that were using old techniques, right? The standard traditional, put a certification on a resume or a job description or put a degree. But we've met with companies that had that mindset, and we've been able to help change their mind.
Wow, that's powerful.
Value what we're doing, and that's been a very proud hurdle jump. Especially when you talk about some of the companies like to advertise, all of our SOC analysts are certified in XYZ. Okay, great. But just because they're certified, are they talented?
Right.
Do they have that raw talent? Or again, does it go back to when they got certified? Did they get certified on their own using home labs, or did they go pay somebody to teach them how to take a test?
Right.
So we've been able to help change those minds. Another hurdle that I was really excited with was I personally was able to connect with the director of cybersecurity for the Senate.
Oh, very cool.
Waiting for a second meeting, but based on the communication that we had with him, he likes the approach that we're taking. And he sees a lot of value in it. So once we link back up, hopefully I get the nice Sergeant at Arms logo. I'm able to advertise on the website saying, hey, you know what, the Senate trusts us. They support our model. Maybe we can get some other companies to start supporting us as well.
Yeah, that'd be great. So, what would be your biggest recommendation for somebody who would be interested or has been considering starting their own business? I mean, we talked on the nonprofit side of things, but
so regardless of business, is definitely doing your homework. Homework would also include network with folks that are in an industry that you're trying to build. Understand what they went through. Also understand that while you're talking to them, you might be competitors. So think of the advice they're giving you, is it counterintuitive to what you're trying to do? Because they might think that your product is superior. Once you have that good idea, one of the things I did right off the bat was I built an advisory board. No membership. I just want a consortium of like-minded individuals that think like I think, and those that think opposite of what I think.
Yeah,
Because,
that's important.
without debate, you just can't have innovation. You can't have brainstorming. And that's a philosophy I go by. But an advisory board that can really help you narrow down what your mission is going to be. What are you trying to do? Who's the market? Who's going to be the people looking in on this? Who's going to be the users? And first, the biggest thing is, don't quit your day job, right? This doesn't happen overnight.
No.
I've known a lot of folks that literally quit their jobs, and they've been funding their efforts on their own. Do it on the side, and that way you have some income coming in. Understand the different types of small business loans. Understand the different types of grants and what's behind the grants. Definitely look at freelancers that can provide some help with grant writing, because you might be starting a business that you don't need a loan. You could absolutely get a grant to start that. It all depends on, again, your market and your target audience. If I'm looking at a veteran specific flavor, getting with the VA and figuring out, who your chapter is in your city or your state, a veteran owned business chapter that can, help you with those different types of things. You might be able to get grants to cover 100% of everything. Or you might find out that you're doing something that nobody's thought of.
Right.
That's the real epiphany. If you're still in the service, then definitely look at the boots to books. Peter Klein, he's got some of these types of courses that he's doing that I wish I would have done, before we partnered with him, because it's huge. Looking at Boots to Business, offered by, in the Navy Fleet Family Support Center, but your FRG, if you're in a different branch, they have these workshops that you can go participate in. Do it. Learn from people that have the knowledge to help you segue into this.
Yeah.
Looking at the IRS website, understanding, the differences if you're doing a nonprofit or for-profit. You might be doing a for-profit, but maybe you find out looking at the IRS that you might be eligible for some nonprofit status, because you can have a nonprofit and a for-profit side. It's just the terms of agreement. And then looking at your state, filing for your state might determine the different types of status that you have to file for: incorporated, LLC, or a full-blown company.
Right.
So understanding what's involved with that. Again, for Florida, you got to go through the Department of Agriculture, and that's who really lays down the rules of the road for it. It seems silly because it's really gated towards nonprofit, but even for profit, again, no matter what industry you're trying to do, take some of the IRS courses on staying nonprofit, because a lot of the different filings that they do are the same thing you're going to have to do as a corporation. The difference is, if you're doing a regular company, you're going to have different expense taxes that you're going to have, whereas a nonprofit, you're trying to fight and not pay those types of expenses. In a network. You're not the first person that has thought about starting your own company. You're not the last person. Talk to people that recently started. Everybody's going to have their own different horror stories and success stories. And that would be the biggest recommendations that I would give.
Those are great and very thorough, because I didn't realize that you could do for-profit and nonprofit within the same company. And
The company itself can be nonprofit, right?
Okay.
And then the for-profit side. So for example, for Whole Cyber, ideally we want to work with, state, local, and territorial governments to help them build a cybersecurity workforce development program. So with that, that would be a contract. That's how I would ensure that my directors got paid. That's where the for-profit would come in. And you can definitely dip in the boat, your toes in both of the water, right? Because if I'm building a workforce development, what part of that is my salary and what part of it is actually doing the nonprofit side?
Right.
Yeah, that's really it. And then looking at the sourcing model of trying to create clear defined job paths for employers. Ideally we want it to stay within the nonprofit side. But if I do have somebody that's working, more than someone else, then I would say, yes, I would want to be able to have the ability to pay you. Which is, because you have to have an EIN before you actually, can start all this.
Yeah.
And then definitely use a lawyer.
Yeah, for sure. Lawyer part is, and like you had mentioned marketing before too, it's owning a business and starting a business is not, you're not going to be the jack of all trades. You're not going to know the best way to do every single thing. So outsourcing is great. There's a lot of people that work that either want to volunteer time, or maybe, you can pay them a couple of bucks to do a few hours a week, or, something like that, because we don't all know everything. So I really appreciate you coming in and, sharing all of your knowledge and everything that you do. I know, like, we know each other on LinkedIn, and so anyone who isn't connected with you should definitely reach out, especially if they're wanting to be in the IT or cyber realm. But thank you again. Give me your pitch.
Well, my name is Paul Cummings. I'm the CEO of Whole Cyber Human Initiative. We build cybersecurity workforce development programs to solve talent gaps today and become sustainable to solve the gaps of the future.